Hey guys, good morning, good evening, wherever you may be today. Welcome to today's Grad Connect session for the University of Alabama Graduate School. Today's session is for our newly admitted international students who are planning to join us in the spring here in about a month. Of course, if you are joining us and you are actually admitted for summer or fall, that is totally fine. Or even if you are an applicant who is still waiting on their admission and they're just excited and want to join us, that is also fine. But today's session is going to be about finances, kind of final steps, some reminders. We also have some current students here with us where we'll have a little panel asking them some tips and things like that, where you'll be able to also ask them questions. So as we go, we will have a quick little presentation with some reminders and things from our friends over at the Office of International Student and Scholar Services. And then we'll have a little panel, and then at the end, we'll open it up for questions from you guys. But as we go throughout the presentation and the panel, go ahead and send any questions that you may have in the Q&A. And if we can answer those in the chat as we go, we will. But then if there's any questions at the end, we will also answer those out loud. Of course, we want to focus on questions that relate to newly admitted students. So unfortunately, if you are a current applicant and you have questions about your application, if we have time in the chat, I'm happy to answer those as we go along. But if your question is dismissed, it's probably just because we simply don't have time to get to that. And we have other Grad Connects. I'll drop a link in the chat here in a second. Other Grad Connects constantly that are just for applicants. So you can definitely register and join us for one of those, or you're also welcome to email us, WhatsApp us, text us, whatever that may be. So we'll go ahead and do introductions, and then I'll hand it over to our friends over at International Student and Scholar Services. So my name is Caitlin Beard. I am the Director of Recruitment for the Graduate School. I don't know if I should share a fun fact about me, but as you can tell, I am from the great state of Alabama. I've been in my position about 3.5 years now. I finished my master's at the University of Alabama and came back a few years later to work in this position. So I'll go ahead and pass it on to the next person.
Hi everyone, my name is Trang Nguyen. I am from the International Student and Scholar Services. Our office handles all of the services related to visa and immigration issues. So if you're requesting I-20s, you've got questions about how the visa process works, it's our office who assists you with all of those. And joining me today is Katie Grace Dockery, also from my office, and I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Yes. My name is Katie Grace Dockery. I'm an international student advisor. So I do immigration advising and also I-20 processing for new students.
I guess I can go next. So hi everyone, my name is Fatma Lagari and I am a international PhD candidate here at UA. I'm studying counselor education. I'm originally from Pakistan and I'm one of the graduate ambassadors. So nice to meet you guys.
Hi everyone, my name is Taye Akinrinle. I'm a second year PhD student in the University of Alabama in computer science. I am from Nigeria. I finished my undergrad in Federal University of Technology, Akure. And yeah, I'm also a graduate ambassador here at the university. Nice to meet everyone.
And just wanted to add that we do have boys at the University of Alabama. I just realized we're an all-girl crew today, not on purpose, but definitely by power. I'll go ahead and hand it over to you guys.
All right. Well, to start things off, I'm going to share the screen and start our presentation from International Student Scholar Services.
Okay, so I'm going to get us started with the presentation. This presentation will focus on arrival information and preparing for life at UA. So we're not going to talk specifically about the visa process today, but if you have any questions about that, we're happy to answer that during the Q&A portion. But we're going to start with pre-arrival information. Well, actually, before we get into that, let me say that our office is open from Monday to Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Central Time. We're located at 105 BB Comer Hall on campus, and you can contact us with this email address, international@ua.edu, or call our office with any questions you may have. We'll make sure that your question gets asked to the right person. So we'll start today with the pre-arrival checklist, and then we'll talk about important things to pack that you might not have considered, important dates and deadlines. Then Trong will take over and talk about port of entry procedures, then traveling to Tuscaloosa, and lastly, finding housing once you're here. So, a few things to consider before you arrive in the US. First of all, please make sure to register for Graduate Orientation and Welcome, or GROW. And as well, if you have been offered a graduate teaching assistantship position, you must also register for a specific workshop for new teaching assistants. Another thing is to make sure you take care of your immunizations, medical history, and health insurance. If you have any questions or concerns about that, we encourage you to contact the Student Health Center. They have a specific team of people who can explain to you what's required in terms of your immunizations. And you can also get certain immunizations once you arrive in the US. It's not mandatory to complete it beforehand. So if you'd like more information about that, we have information on our website. And throughout the presentation, Trong and I will be dropping links in the chat to certain web pages that we're referencing throughout the presentation. Next is your diploma and transcripts. So you'll need to bring a certified copy of your diploma, final transcripts or mark sheets, and exam results to submit to graduate school admissions. And another thing to consider is a SIM card to get your US phone number. So our office actually stocks SIM cards that you can get from our office. The SIM card itself is free, but the phone plan you sign up for, there are different rates you can choose from. So that's a really convenient way to get a SIM card if you'll probably come to our office anyway for something else. So that's something we do offer. All right, for packing, you'll need to make sure that your essential documents, so your immigration documents like your passport with the visa, your I-20, make sure all of that is kept in your carry-on luggage because you will be asked to present these documents when you go through customs. So if it's in your checked baggage, you will not be able to access those documents that are really important when you're going through the port of entry. And we also recommend keeping your admission letter, so proof that you've been offered admission to UA, any financial documents you might have, and also any important prescriptions. It's also just generally advisable to keep these in your carry-on luggage. So something to think about when you're packing. Number two is clothing. So Tuscaloosa, for the majority of the year, is very warm and it is also humid, which enhances how hot it feels. So we recommend bringing light, breathable clothes for summer and early fall. And then in the winter, it does get cold, but not as cold as other parts of the world. So it's advisable to bring layered clothing. The weather can also change throughout the day. So if you have multiple layers on, you can kind of take a layer off when it gets hot around midday and put the layer back on when it gets cool again in the evening. And we also recommend bringing special clothing items representing your home culture. One really special part about coming to study here is for us is that you get to share your culture with us, and it's really valuable for everyone else in Tuscaloosa, so something to consider. And in that same vein, any special spices, mixes, or cookware that you're going to need to make your own home cuisine. So think about things that might not be easily accessible to you in the United States. You might want to consider bringing that with you. Any medicines that you are prescribed, you should bring clearly labeled. And lastly, electronics. So remember that the charger cords you may currently be using will not work here, so you might want to have a converter or be prepared to purchase new cords once you arrive. So how early can you arrive in the US? Well, F1 students can enter the US up to 30 days before the report date listed on the I-20. So for spring 2026, the program start date or the report date is January 2nd, 2026. 30 days before that is December 3rd, which is actually tomorrow. So that is the earliest day you can arrive and enter the US. Moving on. If you are selected for administrative processing, so if you're still waiting to get your visa, you may have been asked to provide additional information to the embassy. But at this stage, you don't need to take any action yet to defer your admission if you're still waiting for the visa, but definitely contact our office. Let us know about your circumstances. There might be something we can do. If you're placed into administrative processing, there's really no method to appeal that. There's nothing our office or any other office can do except respond to any inquiries from the embassy and, maybe just reach out and contact them for an update on your case, which we are happy to do. So definitely contact our office and let us know if you're experiencing visa delays. So, like I started to say earlier, if you don't have your visa yet, you don't need to take any action at this time to defer your admission. So here are the deadlines that you must know. So you need to be prepared to be present on campus for the start of classes, which is on January 7th. Although we highly recommend, if it's at all possible for you to arrive about a week before that, so you have time to settle into Tuscaloosa, attend those really important graduate orientations. But classes do start on January 7th, so we recommend doing everything in your power, to be here by that day. And exceptions can be made for extraordinary circumstances on a case-by-case basis. So if you think you might arrive late, please contact our office to let us know. And the deadline to arrive is the last day of class registration, which is January 14th. So 1 week after the start of classes. And if you cannot arrive by this deadline, at that point, you need to seriously consider maybe deferring your admission to a future semester. And at that point, you would work with graduate admissions on deferring that admission offer, if it's possible, and then working with my office to update your I-20.
Thank you, Katie Grace. So I'm going to talk about the port of entry procedure. So to make sure that you know what it is like going through the port of entry. So if you are flying to Birmingham, Alabama with a connecting flight, you must ensure that you collect all of your luggage at the first US airport, also known as the port of entry, POE for short. After custom inspection, then you will collect all of your bags and recheck your bag for the next flight. Depending on what time of the day you arrive at the port of entry, what port of entry you are going through, we do recommend you allow 2.5 to 3 hours to make sure that you have enough time to go through immigration and customs clearance. Because if you allow too little time, you may miss the connecting flight going after customs clearance. So at this stage, through the port of entry, your biometric scan or your fingerprints and your photo will be taken. And the officer at the port of entry will issue you an I-94 electronically. You don't receive it physically, but once you arrive at your final destination, probably Tuscaloosa, do check your I-94 to make sure that you are admitted as an F1 or J1 student, and you are admitted for a duration of status or DS. So you can go to this link, i94.cbp.dhs.gov, putting in your information, your passport information, and print out your I-94. Like I said, it should be F1 if you have a F1 visa, and it should be J1 if you're entering on a J1 visa, and the admit until date should be duration of status. If the information does not match what it is, please do let us know, because if you are admitted into a wrong status, you may be limited to what you can do as a student. Few of the things to keep in mind. So you are not allowed to bring in fresh produce, seeds, plants, or soil. No meat product at all, whether it's fresh, dry, canned, or cooked. So that means beef, pork, chicken, lamb are out of the questions. So regardless of how much you like these, you should not and are not permitted to bring them from outside of US to inside the US. You can come here and purchase them here, but nobody is allowed to bring these meat product from abroad. Make sure that you check the prohibited and restricted items in the US to pack, so that you can avoid the items that are not allowed. If you bring cash, and we do recommend that you bring certain, some cash to settle in Tuscaloosa. You are allowed to bring up to $10,000 without declaring. Any amount above $10,000, you must declare it with CBP. So you can bring more than 10,000, but you have to declare the amount. All right, and there are some more tips and tricks with going through port of entry on the CPP website that you can check it out on your own. Katie Grace has mentioned this, but I just want to reiterate that you do not want to pack your I-20, your passport, and your stamp in your luggage. These must be with you in your carry-on or in your backpack, whatever, but it should not be packed in your luggage. We also recommend that you bring with you your CVS fee receipt, your proof of funding, your proof of student status, such as your admission letter, tuition receipt, etc., just in case you are asked. So you may not be asked, but we rather that you have these documents if you are asked at the port of entry to present those. All right. Well, if you are already in the US on an F1 or J1, the process is probably a lot easier for you since you've already have the experience. You actually do not have to arrive in the US one more time if you're already in the US. Instead, you will need to request your CVS record to be transferred to us from your current school. In your I-20 request, you will need to complete the section 4, letting us know that you are transferring your CVS record from your current school. We will need to know your CVS ID number, what is your current status. Once you are admitted to UA, you may provide your current DSO or ARO with a copy of your admission letter from UA, and you request your CVS record to be transferred to UA. And make sure that you only request the CVS record to be transferred out to us after the last day of your studies at the current school. We have on the slide here the school code of UA, the F1 school code, and also the J1 school code. And both of these codes are also on the section 4 of the I-20 request form. You can see it's like on the bottom here of section 4. We have the F1 school codes that start with the ATL, following by the series of numbers, and then the J1 EV program numbers start with a P and then 103854. So make sure that you put in the right school code so that your CVIS record can be transferred to the correct school. All right, getting to Tuscaloosa. What airport should you fly to? We recommend students to fly to Birmingham Shuttleworth Airport. The airport code is BHM. That is the closest major airport to Tuscaloosa, Alabama. It's about an hour drive from Birmingham Airport to Tuscaloosa. Some of the students in the past have chosen to fly to Atlanta Airport. While it is an option, however, a lot of the times it's harder and more expensive to find transportation to Atlanta Airport to Tuscaloosa, because it's about 4 hours drive from Atlanta to Tuscaloosa. So considering, the total cost and the transportation methods to and from the airport to campus. So that's why we recommend you're flying to Birmingham instead of other airports. As for going from Birmingham Airport, our office offer free daily shuttle services at 4 p.m. On January 2nd, January 3rd, and January 4th. You must sign up to reserve a spot. The link is on our website currently, and Carrie just put in the chat also the link for you to book a place if you want to take advantage of the free shuttle service. There's also a University of Alabama Brick Bus. This one is for UA students. You do have to pay for this service, but it's at a discounted prices. And shuttles can take you from either Atlanta or Birmingham Airport. It's only offered on Tuesday, January 6th. And if you click on the College Break Bus website, it'll tell you what time you'll be picked up from the airport in Atlanta and airport in Birmingham. Of course, and there are other options like Uber and Lyft that you can go and arrange for your own transportation that way as well. All right. So as grad students, you're all going to be on off-campus housing. Most of the apartments require long-term leases, or at least 1 year. So while we recommend that you do have like some initial funding, at least, $3,000 to $4,000, so that you can prepare for some initial expenses settling in Tuscaloosa. It's very common for most landlords to require you to pay a deposit, which is equal to 1 month's rent when you sign a lease, and then the first and last month of rent upon move in. Be sure that you read through all of the terms of your lease carefully before signing in, because once you sign a lease, you are promising to pay the landlord for the entire time listed on the lease. So if you end your lease early, or if you violate any of the lease agreements, you may be subject to pay a fine, or you may lose your rental deposit that way. We have the website here with off-campus housing that you can check them out and see more information about off-campus housing. We do also recommend that you want to see the place in person before signing a lease to make sure that you know what it feels like to be in the apartment, or how close or how far it is from campus. Because sometimes the photos don't really look like what it is in person. So it's best to actually arrive on campus before signing the lease. There are also a couple of websites that provide you with more information about UA campus. For a campus, you can go to visit.ua.edu with a lot of extremely helpful information about UA. For the city of Tuscaloosa, you can go to visittuscaloosa.com for more information. All right. And again, there is all of the information about our office. We open from 8 to 5. You can always email us at international@ua.edu, call us at this phone number, or go on our website. There are tons of information on our website here that you can look up for yourself. So yeah, I'm going to pass it on to the next person.
Perfect. So I guess that would be me now. Okay, stop sharing your screen. So now we're gonna, excuse me, transition into our current student panel. Of course, we really want our attendees to send any questions that you may have specifically for the current students, just, things about how they transitioned to campus and things like that. But of course, if you have any general questions, we will also answer those either in the chat or at the end. So I first just wanted to get us started. Again, have Tay and Fatima to introduce yourselves again for anyone who may have joined a little late, where you're from, your program, and maybe just kind of talk about, your first week or so, getting here, kind of where did you fly into? How did you get to campus? What did that look like in your experience there?
I think you can start. Hi everyone, I'm Taye. I'm from Nigeria. I'm Taye, I can relate. I'm from Nigeria. I'm in my second year of PhD in computer science at the University of Alabama. Um, so how did my first week go? It went very good. I came in a week before GRAD started, so I flew in. My port of entry was Atlanta, and ASA, that's African Student Association, I have kind of like a shuttle pickup. So you can tell them where you're going to drop off and come pick you up. And I had that, which was very nice for me. The person drove about 3 hours because Atlanta is 3.5 hours from here. So it picked me up and brought me to my apartment. I reached out to someone from GSA, that is Graduate Student Association. I reached out to someone there, through ASA, and I was able to get an apartment, and I was able to sign the lease and everything before I got here, which was very nice for me. And I got here and came into my apartment. And also Tuscaloosa, one thing I love about Tuscaloosa is that there is a international connect where you get your furnitures, right? They bring you furnitures, and I had that same day. Someone brought in my bed and everything, and it was so nice. And I was able to sleep on the bed that night. And yeah, my first week was good. Adjusting was very good. I had to, of course, do my bank and get my credits and debits, get all those documents, go to ISS office, and really, but it was good. So.
So for me, my name is Fatima, and I am a fourth year PhD student, I think, in counselor education, so College of Education, and I'm from Pakistan. So I think my experience coming here was it was fairly easy. Like I didn't have any hiccups or anything. So I entered in Houston, Texas. So from there, I flew into Birmingham, and then from the Birmingham airport, I drove to Tuscaloosa. So I did have a sister, so she sort of did guide me to come here. So I think that definitely helped. Like I had someone around. But I think one of the good things about UA is like you will find somebody, like you will find your person here. Either it'll be one of the many student organizations that are here, so you can sort of reach out to them, be like, hey, I'm from this country and I would love some sort of help. Like either they would guide you or the graduate school will guide you, or even your like advisor. Like everybody will help you to like they'll connect you to somebody. So you're not gonna feel like I don't know what to do. Like I'm here and what's the next step? And then even with Tuscaloosa, so I also got my apartment before I came here. I think that's just how the setup is. You usually have to sign up your lease before you come here. There can be some instances when you come in and you look around and you get it, but at least my first year I had to sign up before I came here. And my apartment already came with furniture, so that was one extra step that I did not have to take. But there are a lot of resources here that you can reach out to, and they like help you with furniture if you need that. And then food, I feel like saying there's good community here. You will find food, so you don't necessarily need to go anywhere like far out to get it. But there are stores if you're looking for something like from home, especially. And yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, and banking and getting a SIM, all of that was very easy. Like everything is on campus, so you really don't even have to go somewhere like far out. International office is one place to go to, and then like I said, everything is on campus, so it's fairly easy. Yeah.
That's my cue. Sorry. I was just reading in the chat where it looks like there's two students who have been admitted to the same program who are connecting. So that's great. I'm glad you guys are able to do that. So another question too, I know we kind of talked about, what to pack, and especially at this time of year, it's cold here in the United States. So I'm not sure, did you guys come in August or in January?
August, fall semester.
Yeah, you
I
too.
also came in August, yeah.
In August. So yeah, it's definitely, a little different because when you guys arrive in January, it will be cold. So definitely, bring a jacket, but by March it will start to be warming up. So don't think that you have to bring, every jacket that you've ever owned in your whole life. We definitely kind of talk about some items that you brought that you kind of wish you would have waited to purchase when you got here. But then also some things that you wish that you would have packed that you didn't.
Okay, I can go first. For me, the things I wish that I'd packed was maybe more clothes, right? Because I came with just a few of my clothes. I was like, yeah, when I get there, I can purchase most of them. But compared to the exchange in naira versus dollar, it's more expensive, especially when you're trying to pinch your pocket, right? You don't want to spend too much because you just got here and you have some debt to pay. You really don't want to spend money on clothes. So one thing I wish that I'd brought, and because I came in fall, it was quite hot, right? So I wish that I'd packed more light dresses. Well, apart from that, maybe food, things that I wish that I had not picked up or taken was food because after some time you just get used to the food, yeah. You just get used to getting your way around and the food you brought from home really doesn't matter anymore. You just waste it. I have some food that I got last year and it's still in my cupboard. I don't eat it. So maybe that's one thing I wish that I just and because you hear that, yeah, it's difficult to eat here. You figure it out. It's not really a big deal. The food is not bad. It's good enough that you can eat it. So, yeah, that's it for me.
I think for me, clothing, yes, because it is really expensive to buy clothes, especially when you're coming here all of a sudden and you're like, oh, I need to purchase. So clothing, yes, but being very mindful as well, because sometimes when you're thinking of clothing, you're like, oh, let me just pack everything that I have. And a lot of those clothes you might not even need here. So just being very careful of like what you need. So like everyday basic clothing, maybe one formal attire if you have any sort of presentations you might be going to or conferences, maybe one warm jacket, especially for the weather that we're about to get into. So just being careful and mindful of that. And then the other thing that I would also say is maybe medication, not like an entire box, but maybe just something for that instant 1 week, maybe, because you're going to come from a different place. So getting accustomed to the new climate and food, it might take a toll on your stomach. So maybe something that you have instantly. So maybe that, and then making sure you have your phone charger, your laptop charger, all of those items are with you. And if you need any converter, make sure you have that because, like I said, when you're coming initially, you already have so much that you need to buy and get. So having these things before is really going to help you with your budget. But other than that, I think you will find everything here. Like I said, you'll find good support systems here from like different student organizations that are here because they've been in your place, so they will know what to like help you, and they'll also like guide you and let you know. Food is something initially, my first year, I did bring a lot of food because I'm going so far away. I don't know if I'm going to find my food there. But then once I came here, I found my community, but I also found stores that had like Pakistani food. So that really helped. And I think you're going to find that too, like hopefully, or at least close enough, you will find that. So yeah, that's all I have.
For sure. I'm trying to think of some other questions to ask you guys, but definitely for our attendees, please send questions, guys, as we go along. We can also transition into answering some of the other questions for our International Student and Scholar Services. So another thing I know a lot of students kind of ask about is transportation. Once you got here, how far was your apartment from from campus, what did that look like? And I know too, coming in January, depending on when you guys come, typically for our students who do arrive in August, campus has already started, moving, the buses are starting to run and things like that. But when our students do arrive in early January, that is during our holiday break. Of course, the office is open on January 2nd, that Friday. But like if you happen to arrive if you arrive on New Year's Day, like no one is around. No stores are open, even, publicly in the city of Tuscaloosa if you do arrive before, January 2nd. But then even then, classes don't start for another few days. So I'm not sure exactly when the buses start, picking up, but kind of talk about how you navigated, that kind of transition, figuring out both public transportation and even on campus and things like that.
So where I live, they already have a shuttle that takes you from your apartment to campus. So there are a couple of, I don't know if this is like in partnership with UA and the different apartments, but some of them already have that service. So they run from like 8 a.m. till 9 p.m., I think, and it's like after every 15 minutes. So that was easy for me. So like I didn't necessarily like have to get a car or like depend on someone to take me to campus. So it was very quick. Like I knew the time. Like they have a fixed schedule, so you're not gonna miss it. So that really helped for me to go to campus and then come back. And then within the campus itself, they have all these different buses that are running because campus is really huge and you won't be able to walk to every location on foot. So they have that service as well, like on campus. So you'll have to figure out the bus system, which can take a while. But there is an app, so you can just download that on your phone. It's Pa Pasiago. I don't know how you pronounce it. But it's an app and you can like download that and like it'll guide you like all the different buses that run and the locations to go to. So you can just like, follow that. But other than that, I think it was easy to navigate it. Like I didn't necessarily have any issues. And the good thing is this is actually new. This was not done before. This is something they just started over summer. So now they do have like a bus service system for summer as well. So if you're on campus here and you need to go to campus they have a bus that would take you from your apartment to the campus and then back and forth. And I think that's what they usually do for the break. So any break that happens, like for example, the winter break, even the first week of January, that's a different support system they've started recently, which has been pretty good actually. Yeah. Except for like Thanksgiving or like Christmas, it's off. That's the only day usually off as well. But for other days, yeah, you can use that.
So the same, the shuttles run. I stay at an apartment where it doesn't have a shuttle bus, but I can walk to an apartment that does have a shuttle bus. It's just like a 5 minute walk. And then I get the shuttle and go to school. And then there's the shuttle in the school that takes me around basically. But for the first few weeks, it might be difficult to navigate and figure out what the Passio Go app does. But I would advise so that you don't get lost, you just ask, right? You just ask the bus attendant, just ask the drivers that you're going somewhere, and then they advise which bus to take. But when I came in, of course, getting groceries is another, it's a different thing on its own, right? It's especially with African stores, you would need to go to stores that are kind of very far. And that is why you would actually need some people that you need to join these associations. Basically, you need to make friends, you need to talk with people, and you can meet with people that are driving. Some people go to stores almost every week. So you just tell them that you want to get some things and they take you along, or they just get your list and help you buy them. Um, but you have some association, you have an African Student Association, you have I think there's a Ghanaian Student Association now. I see a lot of people from Ghana here. So, but yes, there are students, and it's kind of like a close-knitted community where everyone knows everyone. So you just ask and they take you. No one is going to, and most people have their cars now, so they just drive you. It's not a big deal to them. But yes, the transportation system here is very good. It's actually one of the best. I don't know. I have some friends in other schools that don't have something like this, so we're grateful for it.
I'm muted, of course. This is a question for either our student panelists or our ISSS, but Emmanuel here asked, I'm Emmanuel from Nigeria, but living in the UK. My question is, I've received PhD admission with a graduate teaching assistantship for 9 months. Any ideas on how students manage the remaining 3 months in the year? And of course, I can add too, but I want you guys to answer as well.
I think I can answer that because I had the same issue of, it's not an issue, but during summer it becomes an issue because then you're planning and you're thinking about what do I do for this 3 months. So basically, you kind of look for on-campus jobs that would help pay for those 3 months. And that's what I did. So I looked for an internship that was in school, and I'm happy that I'm still on the internship and it's still paying me till now, and it's still going to cover my next summer. So that's something I would advise you to do. You just ask, you talk with your advisors, especially when you come in, you ask around, you talk with people, you just have this 9 months, and then the 3 months you're nothing. So you ask around and you get an opportunity for that period. So yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say something along the same lines. I think most of the time students don't have like summer funding, so you have to sort of apply for it again. And the best way to do it is the faculty member that you're working with them, is to either just ask them if they have anything that you could sort of continue, like transition to summer, or you could just ask within your department as well. Like sometimes there are different faculty members that are doing like work and they could take you on. And that's what I've done throughout that I've been here. So I've been yeah, I've been fortunate enough to get summer funding as well.
Yeah, and just to add to that, it looks like Katie Grace did share the jobs board. And so definitely first step would to be to talk to your faculty within your department, but also know that you can apply for either graduate assistantships or even just student employment outside of your program. You don't have to be a teaching assistant or a research assistant within your program or even within your department or your college. Typically, that is where you will find funding, but sometimes other colleges, especially if they have like a summer program going on that's grant funded, they're willing to take on students really from anywhere. So definitely, keep an eye on that student jobs board because they typically will start posting, some summer opportunities, even as early as January or February, and they only have to post the position for a week. So really, if you're looking, set a reminder on your phone to check that job board once a week. And even reaching out to, departments on campus because sometimes they'll have positions that they don't even post on the website. They just kind of ask around, and that's an unfortunate thing for new students. They don't know. But definitely once you get on campus and you start making connections and things, people can kind of point you in the right direction. I would say, a good bit of students do, end up getting summer funding. But, there's also, there's assistantship level funding, like graduate student level funding, but there's also just what we call like an undergraduate student job that you can also apply to. It doesn't pay as much, but it's definitely better than nothing at all. So of course, you do want that assistantship. Um, but also know, with your health insurance, you will still be covered through the summer if you are on a full assistantship. And so you don't have to worry about that. So definitely, the hourly rate, if you were to get, an undergraduate student position just for the summer, the hourly rate would be lower. But it's better than nothing. And like Katie Grace said, you're only, eligible to work those on-campus positions. And and during the summer, you can actually work up to 40 hours, correct me if I'm wrong. Um, and so you can take on maybe two positions, especially if you're not taking classes in the summer. Working 40 hours is definitely doable. And so thinking about taking on possibly two positions, or even if a position is maybe 30 hours a week or something like that, just to help get you by. But I definitely recommend, of course, it's not like your assistantship is a whole lot of money. But just to be safe, don't bank on getting funding for the summer. There is a good chance that you will find funding or find something to help you out. But definitely, don't spend all your money. Try to put back at least a little bit, just in case. At least, enough money for your rent. Try to get ahead on that because even if you were to get, a position of the summer, it may not, you may not start as soon as your assistantship ends. It may not start until June 1st. And so there may be a few weeks or something like that that you would have to make it through. And so definitely kind of plan and prepare for that. But honestly, as soon as you get on campus, start asking because most assistantships are 9 months. But like, our students said, oftentimes either a faculty member, they have extra funding where they can extend that to 12 full months. Yeah. I was like, what am I saying? Yeah, 12 full months, or other faculty or even within the department on campus. And that's the great thing about us being such a large university is there are a lot of options out there. You just kind of have to know where to look. But we're definitely happy to help you out the best way we can between our current student organizations, ISSS, and even the graduate school. You just ask around and be diligent in searching because we know how important that is. That's a good question.
I
Some,
want
oh, go
to
ahead.
add that if you're have already enrolled in two full semesters, so let's say if you coming well, this doesn't really apply to students coming in spring, but like if you're coming in fall semester, you enroll in the fall semester and then in spring semester, then that next summer you are eligible to work off campus if you find an internship or a job that is directly related to your major. So that it's just another venue that you may look into if you find something that fits your major. Um, and you can work full time. So the immediate summer, that you are here, you may not be eligible for off-campus job just yet. You still can do on-campus job, but the following summer, once you've already have 2 full time semesters under your belt, then you can look further from outside of campus.
Sure, that's a good question. And so another question, well, I just realized it's 9:53, so we will be wrapping up, guys, right at 10 o'clock. So if there's any other questions that you have, please send those in. Any questions that are sent probably after about 9:57, we probably won't have time to get to. So definitely, if you have any questions you want to ask, send them now. I will also send a link in the chat to our graduate ambassadors. So that way, if you do want to reach out to either of our panelists here, but also we have 25 total grad ambassadors from all over the world and different programs. So definitely, if you want to look on there to see if there's any students that you can connect with, whether it be someone in the same program as you or even from the same country or anything like that. That would be a great way because they are quite literally there to help you out. And definitely give kind of that student perspective that we may be missing as staff members. But like they said, also reaching out to those student organizations. I'm not sure did we? It's on the international website. You can find it, but I didn't know if we sent a link to where the all the international organizations are listed. Okay, yes, we did. Okay, I see that. Awesome. But yeah, definitely reaching out to them. So I see other people. Great. It looks like people are connecting. And so I see someone asked, I was typing an answer, but I'll just answer it here. Someone asked, given my admission is for fall 26, any idea when fellowship decisions are made? I learned that the fellowships offer more funding. So fellowships are awarded kind of in cycles. There are rounds that you have to be nominated by your department. And so depending on when you were admitted, if your department nominated you, typically the department should tell you that they've nominated you for a fellowship. But again, only about 10% of all of our graduate students are on a fellowship. So of course, like that is a great thing a fellowship is, but know that the chances of getting a fellowship are quite slim, especially as a master's student. I would say 95% of fellowship awardees are PhD students. But anyways, so those are awarded in cycles. So the first awards start going out in January. And so be on the lookout for those if you were nominated in time, but you have to be nominated by the deadline to be awarded in that first round. And then in order to be nominated, you had to be fully admitted. And so the earliest awards for fellowships will start going out in January with some, going out as late as March and April. And so even if you're not awarded a fellowship in that first round, your department can actually nominate you in the second round if they want to. Or if you weren't nominated in the first round because you weren't admitted in time or whatever that the case may be, the department can nominate you in that second or even the third round. But know that it is a little different for students who are admitted for the spring semester. I know this person is admitted in fall, so you will fall in that typical timeline, but you would be nominated as a new student if you are admitted in the spring. You would be nominated only in the rounds that are eligible for new students. However, awards for fellowships are only awarded for the fall, students starting in the fall for the new students. So unfortunately, if you do start in the spring, you would not be eligible to be awarded in that new student group. However, the very first round of nominations are for returning students. And so you could be nominated, the next year for a continuing student fellowship. you are eligible to be nominated for those. So definitely talk to your department about that. It may be that you come in on an assistantship and then they nominate you for a fellowship. And opposite to that, some students come in on a fellowship their first year and then transition into a assistantship. So definitely every program is different. We have over 160 programs on our campus. So I know oftentimes students ask, well, what's the process for this? What's the process for that? And the good and bad thing is that every program is different. And so it's not that I don't know, it's just that every program has a different process. And even if I think I know a program's process, as soon as I tell a student what their process is, the program has changed it. And I didn't realize. And then I'm telling someone wrong. And so the best way to find out is to either, look on the website. Sometimes it's at the very bottom of a page where they say what the process is for getting funding. But if you can't find it, reach out to the program director directly, the person who is listed either on the website or on the the graduate program portal, who is the program director. They can give you that information on exactly what the process is. So, next question. It looks like people are still just trying to connect. It looks great. I love that. But I sent a thing to the grad ambassadors. But if there's any other questions, you have about 1 second to send that. But I just want to ask our panelists if you had just one final piece of advice to share with our incoming students for spring, please go ahead and share that, and then we'll wrap it up.
Hi. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay. One final piece of advice I would give to um the students that are coming in is that you talk. I'm an introvert, so I don't really like talking, but in the United States, it's very important that you talk. If you need help, just talk. You don't know if the next person has what you need. So I would advise that you open your mouth and say it. So yeah, that's one piece of advice that I have.
I think I'll just say that, like, don't be nervous. Like, you'll find your place and you'll find your people. I know it right now you're on the other side and it can feel very scary, but trust me, it'll be easy. Yeah. Like, just reach out to people, just connect to people. And yeah, it'll be easy. Don't worry. And we're here. So if you ever need us, you can reach out to us as well, and we can help you with any questions that you have. And all the best.
For sure. Well, Trong or Katie Grace, did y'all want to add one final piece of advice?
Yeah, I just want to say that our office here, is to assist you with any questions that you may have. Again, like our expertise is in the visa and immigration uh issues. However, if you ask us the questions, we'll make sure that your questions will be directly to the correct person. If we don't know, we'll connect you to the person or people who can help you. So reach out to us, ask us, phone us, visit us if you have questions.
Yeah, for
One
sure.
thing I thought of was check your email, your student email. We will contact you if there's anything required of you that you need to do. So look out for messages from us because they're usually important.
Yes, and definitely, some offices will still be sending emails to your personal email, but a lot of places and even, your program, they may start sending emails directly to your UA email. So definitely set that up as soon as possible and start checking that. And even if you are starting to correspond with faculty, I would recommend reaching out from your UA email, because oftentimes, especially program directors and faculty and things like that, they're getting a lot of emails from prospective students. And, your email may get lost in that. But if they see that crimson.ua.edu, they know that you are an admitted student, and, they may prioritize responding to your email a little more quickly to help you out, especially. So definitely, I'm going to send in the chat a link to our additional Grad Connects. We do have one more coming up in January for our students coming in spring that kind of talks about, if you are coming in on a grad assistantship, what that looks like, even health insurance questions and things like that in the process. And that actually is on, I think, January 6th, if I'm not wrong. But for our students who joined us a little early, who are coming in the spring, the first official series for our summer and fall students who are coming in 2026. The first session for you guys is in February, and then we will go and have a session every month, pretty much. So do note that the session in April is the same as the session in February. So either attend the session in February or April, or just attend both for funsies. But we do have a session every month starting in February for our students who are admitted in the summer or fall semesters. And so really you can go ahead and register for all of those. So you can get those reminder emails. They can be on your calendar. They're always the first Tuesday of the month. And so go ahead and get those on your calendar for those who are coming. And then for those who are admitted in the spring, you'll be here before you know it. So be proactive and plan and ask questions. And like they said, don't be nervous. We're happy to help you guys. And if there's anything that we can do to help, please reach out. I want to thank our awesome panelists for joining us. This recording will be on the grad school's YouTube page in about a week, but there are older sessions that have similar answers and tips to this session, probably from other students. So maybe it would be cool to kind of see their perspectives as well. But you can find all of those on our YouTube page. But this one will be on there in about a week. So again, thank you guys so much, and looking forward to seeing you here in about a month. And roll tide.
Roll Tide.
Thank you.
Thank you.